What's up, guys? It's Lord Saint, and today we're in the shade house, or should I say tonight we're in the shade house. And what are we doing in the shade house? Yeah. We're gonna repot my Forgetii. My Anthurium are just thriving in the shade house, and I want it to be out here. I want it to continue this immaculate growth, and it's getting too big for where I had it on the inside of the house. So I want to move it out here, but clearly I can't keep it in the same mix because it wouldn't be happy. So let's go straight into what I'm going to attempt this time. Now, you guys know exactly what I use for my Anthuriums. We've talked about it in at least 2 or 3 videos now. I'm going to try something new this time. This isn't sponsored. I wasn't paid for any of this. The folks over at Very Plants sent me Molly's Aeroid and Orchid mix, succulent mix, and I think another mix. So I'm gonna try this out. I've already taken a look at the Aeroid mix. I haven't seen what this Orchid mix looks like, but the ingredient, oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna show this to you. Again, this is Very Plants, Molly's Aeroid mix. I'll put a link down below. You can check it out yourself if you like what you see during this video. Get it. But tell them you got it from my video. Maybe it'll do something for me. I don't know. All right, let's get a clear bin. And let's start with the Orchid mix here. And let's look for the ingredients. So we have cocoa husks, Pinus radiata bark, Akadama, Huga, lava rock pumice, and there's an organic fiber substrate for Bacillus pumilus. So I'm assuming it's some type of pumice stone in it. So real quick, let's just zoom into that. You can see what that looks like right there. But then drop it on here, and it's exactly what the back of this bag looks like. You can look right there. Kind of nice imagery on the side of the bag. Tells you exactly what's in there. Now, right off the bat, I'm not seeing... It says there's supposed to be husks, cocoa husks in this, cocoa chips. I don't think I'm seeing any cocoa chips in this so far. But it does list it as one of the ingredients. I just don't see the amount of cocoa husks. I rely heavily on cocoa husk, and I don't see any in here. That's okay, because the Aeroid mix, which would normally be good, has cocoa chips, cocoa fiber, Pinus radiata bark, expanded clay, worm castings, calcitic and dolomitic limestone, coarse horticulture perlite, horticultural charcoal, and pumice. And this is a bit chunkier. So I figured I kind of like the best of both worlds out here in the shade house. I've been watching my Anthuriums very closely to see how they react from potting mix, the potting mix that I've had out here. And they've been doing really well. But it's also been raining every day. So I don't want to put it in something with too much cocoa fiber in it. You know, it has to be super well draining. My fear is that it won't be well draining enough. And there's one plant or one of my no IDs out here that kind of already lost the leaf. I don't know, it's just the amount of water and that it's not well draining enough. Maybe the cause, because I didn't have it out here. I had it in the patio. But this, which is very airy and thick, I don't want to put it in this alone. I feel like just the amount of rain we get down here, and all my plants are exposed to rain, would just be a little too much for it. So I figured, good idea, mix it. Now, I do think this Aeroid mix would be fine if you had it in a controlled atmosphere. So if you have it indoors, you have an indoor jungle, or anywhere where you can kind of control the rainfall. It's not just getting downpour every single day. Okay, yes, this makes a lot of sense. It's very chunky. But for me, having it out here, nah, I just feel like I gotta mix it. And you know me, orchid mix, I would go with an orchid mix for my Anthurium all day, any day. So chunkier the better, because needing water is an easier problem for me to fix rather than too much water. So I'll mix that there somewhat. This is very chunky. I'll add a little bit more of this because we're going to be using a big pot, and it is very humid out here. So let's just, and then I'll show you what this looks like with a good mix. Okay. I like that. And I'm going to use a lot of this. All right. Okay. I think we're good to go. Like I said, I've never used this before, so this is going to be one heck of an experiment. I'll put this information down below if you want to check it out for yourself. I will obviously do an update video, as I tend to always do now, and we'll figure out if this is working for me or not. Okay, this is what the mix looks like. So you can, it's very chunky, very chunky. It's got a little bit of everything in it, but I feel like it's just enough water retention. So when it isn't raining every day, the plant will be just fine. It won't dry out too fast or anything like that. That's what we're gonna use. And then let's bring our base. Now let's jump right back into repotting this Forgetii. I didn't know I would like Forgetii so much until I saw the size that this was achieving. And I'm just crazy about it. You can see recently inside, it's kind of been telling me that, hey, you know, I think I'm ready for some changes. You can see some roots there. They're not the normal roots that I like to see, but there are still some healthy roots. I think maybe a little bit underwatering on my part. Again, we get busy with life, but that's okay because I'm gonna give it everything it needs out here in the shade house. So we'll just compress this really quick just to get this out. All right, there we go. And we're gonna upsize this clear plastic pot to a larger one. All right. And then we're just gonna, so if you're wondering, this has been doing surprisingly well in a mix of milled sphagnum moss, bark, cocoa husks, or cocoa chips, as I like to call them, and perlite, obviously, and not just size 3 perlite, but some fine perlite too. It's been doing surprisingly well. Now, a lot of the plants that I had outside in the patio that were in this exact mix started getting root rot. They weren't doing well. But this one on the inside of the house appeared to be doing okay, so I didn't bother it. I left it as is. If it's happy, I'm happy, right? Clear pots, I could see the roots. I could see that there was nothing crazy going on root-wise, that it was still healthy. So I left it alone into this milled, and you can see how just, it's not very breathable, right? But it worked. But now that I'm going to move it outside to give it more room to grow, because you can, as you can tell, it is a very strong grower for me. I want to make sure that I get it right on the first time. So for that, I do need to move it into what normally would be my chunky mix, that you guys know to be my chunky mix. But I figured since I got these ingredients in to try, that, hey, we'd give it a go. I'll monitor it for a few weeks, and I'll see how everything is doing. All right, so now that we've got, oh, hold on. Let's get all that separated. Okay, so here we are. Here are the roots. Okay, let's jump right into it. Here's my larger pot. And we'll use this just so we don't make a mess here. And then we'll just start. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Good. Give me 1 second. Let me get a bamboo stick. You guys know I like to poke when I repot just to make sure it gets all around. When I molest the roots in this fashion, I like to make sure that, and I'll turn this around so you guys get a better view. When I molest the roots in this fashion, you know, I like to make sure the potting mix gets in between the roots. So we'll just continue here. That. And I do use Osmocote slow release, which I will add later on because I don't have any handy right now. Here we are. Just make sure I get all the gaps. I don't have just any crazy open spaces. I'm almost forcing the potting mix into the gaps of the roots that I just spread. Okay, then I'll take a look. Okay, so I have a lot of roots on this side. I'm just gonna get some down there. All right, so I do need to throw some more over here. There we go. And I'm just continue just like that. It's chunky. All right. Good. Now we can just finish. All right. Good. Get some of the rest of that. Yes, I had a lot of growth and we are good. Later on I will add my Osmocote when I get some. And there we are. Quick repot for the Forgetii. Now obviously, like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on it. And let's see what this does. Again, I did mix the aeroid mix with the orchid mix. I know what I need out here for my plants to, or for specifically for my anthuriums to survive. So for me, this was just to make an even chunkier mix. Now, could I have done it in just the orchid mix? Yeah, I could have, but it didn't hurt to add a little bit. Like I said, I didn't see any husks, and I'm a huge fan of cocoa chips or cocoa husks. So I added those from the aeroid mix. Just experimenting, we'll try it out. And thanks to these clear pots, I'll be able to tell what's going on with the roots over the next 2 weeks. And if I see any decline, then I'll repot it into my own. I will do another review in another 2 weeks to let you guys know how this beautiful Forgetii is doing in Very Plants Molly's mix. Quick one today. We are going to talk about the shade house on the next one. You can see here that I am on a different surface. You can look behind me. Does not look how it's looked in my previous videos. If you've been following me, I made some big changes. Remember, we were making lots of improvements, and I continued with those improvements by building some tables, and I will show you the build. I will tell you where I got my inspiration from and what I did in addition to their idea for the tables. And then I'll show you guys what the shade house looks like now. All right, so we'll talk about that on the next video. If you love this Forgetii the way I do. If you're just looking at it and you're like, goodness gracious, that is a beautiful Forgetii, please drop a like below. Drop any comments regarding this. If you have any questions on Molly's mix or what I did today, again, drop a comment down below. And if you're enjoying the channel so far, subscribe, please. We are growing, we are learning, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Lord Saint.